Welcome to another edition of the All Four Downs podcast. I'm Obi-Wan. In this episode, I'm going to give you the recap of the top 25 games that happened this weekend. How is it impacting the top 12 leading into the college football? And will the selection committee get this right? Because, man, I'm trying to find a formula to understand what happened. All right. 7 teams go down in the top 25. And did you know that back in September 29, 2007, there were 7 ranked teams that lost the game with only one head-to-head matchup that was ranked versus ranked team? On November 23rd, which was yesterday, there were 7 ranked teams that lost, and 2 of those games were head-to-head matchups. So what possibly could happen leading in to this week's top 25 rankings? This show is brought to you by CMG Sports Central. Visit cmgsportscentral.com for your favorite podcasts and all of your major sports. Let's start with first down real quick. A recap of what happened this weekend. UNLV defeated San Jose 27-16. SMU handled Virginia 33-7 to clinch their spot in the ACC championship. Miami defeated Wake Forest, but that's not it, because they have one more ACC game. They win, they're in. If they lose, well, somebody else is going to step into the plate. I'll tell you that later. Florida upsets Ole Miss and probably blew Ole Miss's chances of making the playoffs. Illinois defeated Rutgers, and Ohio State defeated Indiana. That will be definitely something to look at, as how far can Indiana go down in the rankings, knowing that they got the weakest strength of schedule. And believe it or not, they did not play like they were ready for the playoffs. Moving on, Georgia took care of business with UMass. Tennessee shuts out UTEP. Penn State slips on by against Minnesota. Kansas upsets Colorado, ruining Colorado's chances, probably outside looking in right now. Arizona State on fire defeated BYU 28-23, and Clemson defeats Citadel, which, by the way, Clemson's already finished the ACC games, and therefore they're awaiting of Miami. Miami is controlling their own destiny. Should Miami lose this upcoming weekend against Syracuse, well, Clemson's in and will take on SMU in the ACC championship. Elsewhere, Texas defeated Kentucky. South Carolina took care of Wofford. Notre Dame manhandles Army, and poor Notre Dame, man, picking on our men in uniform, defeating Navy, defeating Army. Does that really count as a top 25 game? Knowing what had happened, okay? And I'm telling you, and I've been saying this every week, Army, Navy, these are the players that they're going to the service after they finish football, right? And no, they're not that athletic, they're not this, but they are teamwork and they're strong, okay? And Notre Dame, they took care of business, good for them, but there was a lot of mistakes. But hey, I'll let that for the selection committee to handle that. Boise State defeated Wyoming. They just barely got by on that one. Oregon State upsets Washington State. Iowa State defeats Utah at the last, probably in the fourth quarter. Great game, but Iowa State pulled it off, especially with Utah's kicker missing the field goal. Auburn defeated Texas A&M. Big upset there. That shakes up all kinds of stuff in the SEC. And Oklahoma upsets Alabama 24-3. 3 points. Alabama only scored 3 points. Who would have ever thought about that? Man, this post era of Nick Saban is really gotten Alabama Crimson Tide very quickly. Wow, unbelievable. And that leads us to second down. College football playoff rankings. This is my rankings, not compared to the selection committee, but you gotta respect on everything that's happened. We gotta have a bigger understanding, right? So from 19 to 25, I have Arizona State, BYU, Illinois, Kansas State, Colorado, Syracuse, and Army. what can I say about Army? They probably won't be ranked in the top 25, but man, they're still working hard. They already clinched their way inside for the American Athletic Conference Championship. But it is what it is. They got one loss. Do we punish them that bad? I don't know. Syracuse got a chance to upset Miami. Colorado fell down. Illinois, they're squeaking by, but Arizona State, out of all these teams listed from 19 to 25, is the hottest team and hottest in the market. And I tell you what, they might squeak on by for the Big 12 championship. I'm liking it. 13 and 18, Clemson, Alabama, South Carolina, Tulane, Ole Miss, and Iowa State. Tulane did not play, but they got one more game. And again, they already clinched the American Athletic Conference Championship, right? They're going to take on Army. South Carolina on this list is the hottest team right now. Alabama is just falling back. But I believe that the committee will not drop Alabama all the way down. I got a feeling that politics is going to kick in to where, since Georgia's squeaking by in there already in the SEC championship, that gives leverage for Alabama. Clemson, on the other hand, is on the waiting list, right? Can they get into the ACC championship? They're looking for Miami to see if they fall, right? It's going to be a great game this weekend. You don't want to miss it. Georgia, 6 through 12. Georgia, Penn State, Boise State, Miami, Tennessee, Indiana, and Texas A&M. Penn State's ranked in the top 5 in the selection committee. I don't know why. I don't think Penn State's that great to be in the top 5. Georgia, 9 and 2. You could debate, but they played the most top 25 games, and majority of those top games were on the road. What would have happened if they all played in Georgia? I got a feeling that would be a big difference maker there. I really, really do. And the shakeup of how they perform and everything else. Listen, I'm going to trust the process here, but I'm going to tell you right now, I believe Georgia already clinched the college football playoffs, even if they were to lose the SEC championship. But that might give leverage for other SEC teams should that happen, but that's all right. Miami, I do got ranked number 9. I don't think Miami's defense is that great. I really don't. Okay? All season long, they're a suspect. But I'm giving respect to the teams that are in first place in their conference. Texas A&M, number 12. Selection committee don't have Texas A&M on the very, very top. But guess what? Should Texas A&M win against Texas, they're going to the SEC championship. So let's put some respect on that one. Indiana, I have no idea where they're going to go. I was a believer for a second, but after watching Indiana versus Ohio State, I don't think they'll be in the top 12. But because they were so far up there, I think that's close, 11, maybe. And then 1 through 5, Oregon. All right, going to the Big Ten Championship. Ohio State, they're going to take care of Michigan this weekend, hopefully. Texas, again, Texas and the SEC, they will take on Texas A&M. The winner of that game will play against Georgia. And yes, Georgia does have home field advantage because that game is going to be taking place in Atlanta. SMU, put some respect on SMU. They are undefeated. First year in the ACC, and they take care of their opponents. Okay? Miami needs to win to face SMU. And lastly, Notre Dame. I know, I'm scratching my head as to why I have it at number 5, but I think it was a rude awakening for Northern Illinois for that loss. And I tell you what, sometimes you got to get humiliated to turn things around. And that's exactly what Notre Dame did. However, their performance against Army is not so much of the score. It's so much of what they did on the field. There were too many mistakes, too many penalties, a lot of miscues, and Army could not take advantage of it. But hey, Notre Dame's more powerful, more athletic. They got all the talent. So when you want to go against the soldiers, the leaders of our country, just remember this. They didn't get a scholarship to go to Notre Dame or to Georgia or to any powerhouse colleges. They went to serve our country. That speaks volume. Mad respect to Army, mad respect to Navy. However, let's see if Notre Dame could take care of business. They got one more game against USC, and they just sitting back and relaxing until the college football playoffs. But we already know about the Irish, what they do in the playoffs. They just simply can't win. It is what it is. I'm telling you the truth. Third down. Here we go. All right. The committee is going to announce their new top 25. That's going to happen at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. And once again, the 5 highest ranked conference champions will receive automatic bids. The 4 highest ranked conference will have 1 through 4 and a first round bye. 7 at-large teams will determine the remaining of the highest ranked teams. Seeds 5 through 8 host the first round games. All right, here's my prediction. Oregon, number 1. Texas, number 2. SMU, number 3. And Boise State, number 4. I don't think that the Midwest Conference is as good as the ACC, but hey, it is what it is, right? Boise State lost to BYU. Y'all remember that? Yeah, BYU in the Big 12. And now all of a sudden, the Big 12 is crumbling. Oh, yeah. Real talk. All right. Let's talk about the teams that are probably going to host the first round. I have Ohio State at number 5, Notre Dame 6, Georgia at 7, and Penn State at 8. And the teams that are going to projectedly play against them is very interesting. I have Miami versus Penn State. Tulane, should they win the American Conference, goes against Ohio State. That'll be probably a bye week for Ohio State. I don't know. To cruise on against Boise State, that'll be very interesting. Indiana, depending on how the success committee handles that team and how they lost to Ohio State, well, they're probably going to be on the road against Notre Dame. And then Tennessee and Georgia, a possible rematch. This time is going to be in Atlanta, not in Athens. So anything could possibly happen. Okay, one more weekend of the regular season, and then on they go to the conference championship. Moving on to fourth down. It is the Heisman. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think there should be any discussion as to who should win the Heisman Trophy. And it will be announced on December 10th, which is Saturday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. And my winner, unanimously, without a doubt, is Travis Hunter, the two-way star that plays with Colorado. 2 carries, 5 yards, and 1 touchdown as a running back. Maybe those trick plays, right? But as a wide receiver, 82 receptions, 1,036 yards, 11 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, he also plays defense. 30 solo tackles, or I should say 30 total tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. This guy plays on both sides of the ball. Very talented. He is an elite, very special person. You don't always get that. All right. You do not. I'm telling you right now, you don't always get that. And he is a one of a kind. And if you put anybody else in comparison for Travis Hunter, I am sorry. This is for me. I'm not arguing. I'm not wasting my time on this. Whether Colorado wins or loses, it doesn't matter. He comes and he performs. Both sides of the ball. I'm telling you, you want to talk about the running back from Boise State. You want to talk about the quarterback in Miami. Nothing compares to this guy right here. We could argue. Leave your comments below. Who you think is going to be the Heisman winner? Who you think is going to be the conference champions? Who's going all the way? Put your comments below. You on Facebook or on YouTube channel. You can subscribe to me anywhere on your favorite podcast platform. I'm OV1, and thank you once again for tuning in to All Four Downs podcast. I'm loving it. I am loving it, and I cannot wait to our reactions for this Tuesday. And Thanksgiving weekend is going to be very, very special. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. You just got to love football, right?